So yesterday I was minding my own business and I received a really interesting email saying that Zapier's tables and chatbots are now integrated. And I thought, you know what? This is a fantastic piece of news. Let's check out what these two things can do together. By the way, hi. If you're new here, my name is Alex, and here on this channel we talk about anything and everything low code, AI, automation, you name it. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. So as we always do, let's get started with the sort of initial impressions of UX UI. And here I am in Zapier. I'm in my tables sort of area. I already have imported some tables. We're going to talk about them later, but let's just begin with the initial stuff. Let's go ahead and create a table. So as you can see, we've got a template library. You can basically start from scratch, or you can of course import your data in. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to open up my file here. And, it takes a few seconds. Here I can import that data. I can set up what my fields are. This is not perfect. Like if your data isn't formatted correctly, for instance, if my cost field contained like a $sign, it wouldn't actually turn it into a currency field because it contains this extra symbol. So it's not really intuitive like Airtable's import is, or like SmartSuite's import module works. But yeah, it's okay. Like you have to do some concessions. We just continue importing, and a few seconds later, here we go. It's successfully imported. All the data is there. The UI is somewhat basic. There are still like things missing from it. So you see, I'm trying to highlight the whole row in an Excel style. Doesn't work. If I try to copy paste a row, like let's say I delete this, and you see I'm trying to press delete on my keyboard, doesn't work. But backspace works, which is kind of dumb. But anyway, so if I try to remove the product and the cost, and let's just say I copy it from Airtable and try to paste it back in, you see what happens? It doesn't act like a spreadsheet, which is a bummer. I wish it did that. Okay, I basically have to copy paste all of this crap individually now. So in general, the experience of building a base is really not that bad. There's so many different clues that kind of point to the fact that they were really inspired by SmartSuite, Airtable, and all of these this new generation of no code databases. But there is a few things missing. So let me just take you through a few things that I feel like can be improved, but I feel like they're just leave us wanting more. So the first thing that I want to kind of point out is that there are no views, right? There's just one grid view. You can add more views, of course, but you can just add an extra view. So view number 2, you can create another view. You can kind of customize it. There we go. But honestly, you can't really group anything, so it's not ideal. Yes, you can add filters, but it's still kind of in its infancy, and you can feel that. Now, in terms of things like fields, you don't get a ton of things. So let's just jump in and take a look. Fields, they're okay. There's some interesting ones. For instance, there is a button field, but the button actually works kind of like a checkbox, mainly because it's got 2 states, enabled or disabled. So yeah, it's like a light switch, so to speak. But yeah, it can do a bunch of different things. Trigger a zap, continue a zap. I guess continue a zap means that this can be like a case where a zap runs. Then I think we saw that with Relay the other day, where you have an approval workflow basically. So yeah, I feel like that's that sort of thing where you continue as app because of that button. Sadly, there's no formula field. There's an AI field, which kind of could, I guess, work as a formula field. There's a JSON field. I'm not really sure what that is, but I guess it's still in its infancy. That's all I'm trying to say. And the whole point today isn't so much the tables, it's the chatbot. It's how you can connect this data to a chatbot and then embed it somewhere. So let's continue on. I mean, there's not much to sort of discuss here. Overall, the experience is good. Time to hook this data up to our chatbot. And I want you to pay attention to how easy this is. Like, if you've seen things like Flowwise, where you're trying to set up a chatbot and you have to like be Einstein to do it, this is nowhere near as complicated. So let's just jump back out. I'm gonna go into my initial Zapier place. You see, we've got this grid view 1. Let's just open up chatbots, and I'm just gonna create a new chatbot. Call this demo. Building your chatbot. The next thing that we need to do is just go into, you could probably set all of this up and that's all well and good. Let's go into instructions. Here, I would suggest to play around with these instructions. So let's just say that you're an exceptional data analyst. You possess a depth of knowledge of sales. Just to clarify what I'm doing here, our data is just sales data. So we have just a bunch of orders that took place. There's a cost to each order, and there's how much a client paid. So it's just sales stuff. You don't really have to do all of this crap, but I would suggest that you add something to this. So just like I'm doing here is to provide analysis, analyze the given data, and provide useful insights. And done. Cool. Now, the next step is to just add source. And here we want to choose a table. And this is the one sort of like annoying thing about this, that it will index the first 1,000 rows. First, based on what? I'm not sure. Like, is it the first from the time of creation? Is it first by the sorting of a particular view? I don't know. Don't ask me, ask Zapier. But ultimately, we have the ability to pick a table. So let's pick grid view 1 and add source. It's just adding, processing knowledge source right now. And that's it. So right down here, we can see that when there's no results found, you can decide what happens with the chatbot. Should it just give you a custom message, or should it just generate an AI response? I'll just leave it for generate an AI response without knowledge sources. And for fun, let's just ask it, what is our top selling product? Widget E. Okay, which client had the most sales of this? Now, the most interesting thing is how quick this is. I'm not super sure that it is the correct answer, but speed bodes well with me. So at least we've got that going for us. Let's just ask it another question. What margin did we make on the sales? This is a tough question. Margin made ranges from 20 to 42 per unit. Okay, cool. That's basically it. Of course, there's more things that you can do with this. You can like add a zap button that triggers a zap, copy the response, and collect info. So kind of like, I have to upgrade. So basically, you can add like a little form to the chatbot. Don't mind if I do, but yeah, it's nice to know that some of this stuff is there. Maybe it's in its infancy. Like, don't take my word for this. Maybe it's not fully developed. Just because a service says that they can do something, like Airtables forms, doesn't mean that it's actually good. So yeah, let's take a look at the next part of this, which is to actually embed this into a Noloco instance. So here we are inside of Noloco. This is just a basic dashboard that I had set up for a previous demo. Go and check it out. It's somewhere in the description. I'll put a link. Really interesting demo of Noloco if you're interested. But yeah, for now, let's just jump straight into edit mode. I've got this little iframe module over here, just split 25/75 with this graph thing. So now let's jump back into our chatbots, press embed, and then what I need to do is choose standard. It's already chosen. Then just choose iframe over here. So let's just copy this particular part of the link, copy this, jump back into Noloco, paste it in, and magic. It should just load up. Simple as that. Once you're ready, just press done. And yeah, this is what it basically looks like. We've got our dashboard. Imagine that you've just signed in. So you've got your chatbot straight in there. And let's just ask it a bunch of questions. What was our best selling product? Let's see if it answers the same way. Remember, it was widget E, and it does. Who made the most sales? Sorry, let me rephrase. Which client had the most sales of the widget? Okay, I'm not super sure if it was Finance LLC. Okay, what was the average margin on those sales? 1860. Bottom line is that this is very, very cool to be able to just have the ability to add data into tables and then see it in the chatbot. That's fantastic. There's one little caveat that I haven't told you about, and that is you have to constantly sync the data. And again, this is like a feature that I think they will change, but every single time you change this data, you have to come into the chatbot and press the sync button. Now, for some odd reason, right now it just fails to sync. Don't know why, maybe it's too new. But bottom line is that you need to manually sync this. I've taken a quick look and I don't think you can do this via API just yet. But yeah, it would be fantastic if this was like an on auto sync once a day or something like that. I don't want to be pressing this button, Zapier. Anyway. So in conclusion, my honest opinion about this whole Zapier chatbots thing is that it's awesome. While Make is doing what? What is Make doing? Where are they? And to be honest, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how Zapier progresses this whole thing with higher indexing limits, with more sources like Airtable or SmartSuite to come into play, and a general like revamp and improvement of how you manage tables. So it's more in line with SmartSuite, Airtable, Excel, just like easy management. More views would be also cool. But you see what I'm saying here, right? This whole thing, it's really awesome. You saw how easy it was to set this whole thing up. It literally takes no time. What else? This is so cool.